Geometry Dash. The classic Geometry Dash we all know. Released in August of 2013, it was initially called Geometry Jump, but later rebranded. RobTop took great inspiration in the Impossible game, a 2D horizontal runner-style game. It was only released for mobile in that year, with a light version also available for mobile with less features, but in late 2014, it would be launched on Steam as well for PC. The reason it was so ahead of the Impossible game was not only its more vibrant style and more variety with the game modes, but also the level editor in the game. That allowed players to build unique levels by themselves, which was essentially what made GD big, making it limitless. It allowed players to make challenges, art projects, and even recreations of other video games. Each level has a well-timed accompanying song, and the music often synchronizes with the level's gameplay and design elements. Geometry Dash also has a practice mode option that allows checkpoints to be placed that the player can restart from, though this mode doesn't reward completion. In 2.2, RobTop would also add a new platform mode to GD. It was not the classic horizontal runner style game, but one where you could freely control your icon's direction, adding a whole new set of possibilities for creating levels. Since its release, the game has seen numerous updates that have added new gameplay and design elements, levels, icons, and features, and nowadays it contains 22 main levels, 4 platformer levels, and countless online levels. Geometry Dash Meltdown. Geometry Dash Meltdown is the first spin-off from Geometry Dash. It's a free ad-supported app only available for mobile that includes 3 new main levels: the 7 Seas, Viking Arena, and Airborne Robots. Every song of this spin-off was made by F777. The ability to transfer certain unlockable data over to the full version through user accounts is also available for it and all the other spin-off games. A fun fact is that the spin-off games make RobTop way more money because of the ads, and he even plans to release a new one in the future. This and the next spin-off game didn't show anything new that could be made in the game at the time, and it was mostly just to promote the main game. Geometry Dash World. The second spin-off game, released in December of 2016, also for mobile only and also free ad supported. It features 10 exclusive short levels between 30 to 40 seconds long, which must be played in sequence, split into 2 worlds, Dashlands, and Toxic Factory, consisting of 5 levels each. The game is a downsized build of the full version of Geometry Dash, and has twice served as a preview for some new content in an upcoming update of the full version. First with the initial release prior to 2.1, and again with an update prior to 2.2. In addition, once all main levels have been completed, you gain access to user level selections including the daily level, the weekly demon, and other featured levels. Geometry Dash Sub-Zero. Geometry Dash Sub-Zero is the third and until now, the last spin-off game that was released. It was released in December 2017 and contains 3 new exclusive levels: Press Start, Knock 'em, and Power Trip. Sub-Zero would be known for being the first spin-off game with actual exclusive stuff, since all the levels were built with 2.2 features such as camera controls and reverse directions, which weren't a thing since the GD version at the time was 2.1. Sub-Zero would also be infamously known because it got its coins updated. 5 years after the game's release, the YouTuber Colin made a video talking about how bad the coins in Sub-Zero were. The video was kinda joking but also kinda true and went viral. RobTop himself saw the video and even commented on it agreeing with the video, and because he already had to update the game because of the changes in policies in the Google Play/App Store, he took this time to update most of the coins and make them way better. Boomlings. Before Geometry Dash came out and became RobTop's main game, he had some other attempts of success that unfortunately didn't work out. Boomlings is the most famous one out of them. It came out in late 2012 and it's a game extremely similar to Candy Crush, but you have those squares with faces called booms that you have to match to earn points. It had a lot of different gimmicks like those skulls, stones, bombs, freeze bombs, and pipes that would spit more booms that made the game even harder. It also had a system where you would buy a bunch of skins with real money, as well as power-ups that allowed you to do stuff like cheat death or get more gold. I guess we were all glad that RobTop didn't transfer that to Geometry Dash. Boomlings also had leaderboards at the time with people's high scores and stats. Boomlings was also nominated for the best mobile game in the Swedish Game Awards in 2012. Unfortunately, in 2014, RobTop couldn't afford a second server for Geometry Dash, so he deleted Boomlings off the App Store and ran the Boomlings server to Geometry Dash. but you can still download the game nowadays with an APK if you really want to. Also, Geometry Dash nowadays has some Boomlings icons that you can unlock and play with, which is really cool. Boomlings Matchup, a sequel game of Boomlings made in 2013. This was the last game RobTop developed before Geometry Dash, around 6 months before it. It was pretty similar to the original in terms of looks, but took more of a direction of a puzzle game where you would see an image and had to replicate it in the least amount of moves possible, moving the boom's rows around the board. It had a bunch of levels, worlds, and modes that made the game even harder. The higher the world number is, the bigger the board was, and the higher the mode was, the more colors there would be. And if you could do it in the least amount of moves possible, you would get 3 stars in that level. The game was definitely rushed just to release something for the Boomlings fanbase at the time, and it is pretty forgettable. Memory Mastermind. Released in January of 2013, it's kinda similar to Boomlings Matchup's idea. It has modes, levels, and worlds. As the name suggests, the game revolves around memory. In the arcade mode, those spheres are going to appear, and when you are ready, you have to click where you remember they are. If you wait too much time, you lose stars, and if you miss too many times, you fail that level. Just like Boomlings Matchup, the board gets bigger and the game gets harder the more you progress. And just like the original Boomlings, Memory Mastermind would also have stuff to buy. Half of the levels, called areas, could be unlocked in a section called Premium that you can only acquire with real money. The color mode is the same deal as the arcade mode, but you also gotta remember the colors of each sphere, not only where they were, making the game even harder. And there was even a challenge mode that would show you different arrows and symbols that would require you to move the spheres setup to where they would tell you to. It's a very fun game overall and great to challenge your brain. Forlorn. Around 2012, before becoming RobTop, Robert operated Rune Digital Games with 2 other friends. While there, they would make 2 games. Forlorn was one of them. It was a full adventure mobile game and honestly pretty well made for the time. You control this mage guy here and you have to travel through multiple areas while fighting enemies and bosses. It had great potential and it's pretty sad that it was discontinued. The game was so good that it won the Swedish Game Awards from 2012 as the best mobile game. Besides controlling the mage, you would have a health bar, could throw fireballs at the enemies, use items such as potions, and even a sword that you would eventually get to attack enemies while being melee. This game was definitely an inspiration to GD's platformer mode, since you would even have a section pretty similar to the fire in the hole part in the main level, the sewers, where you pass the stage in an elevator. Unfortunately, with the group separating and with the time, the game was discontinued and the files of it were lost, making it pretty much unplayable, until 2023, where a beta testing program called Test Flight was leaked, and a bunch of games were available from that time to the public, including some older versions of Angry Birds and Forlorn itself. But there was a problem. The file type of the games were in .ipa, so you could only play it if you had an old iPhone. Colin also would make a live stream playing the game, and you can watch the entire playthrough on his channel. Kingdom Escape. Kingdom Escape is the second game Rune Digital Games made, and only from watching its gameplay, you can already see some Geometry Dash inspiration from it. The lore of the game is basically that you are running from a princess that was turned into a monster. The game was never officially released, but recently we got some concept art and videos from it from one of the developers that worked with RobTop on it as well, like other designs they planned for the monsters. The game had a lot of mechanics that we can see in GD nowadays. Besides the 2D horizontal runner style game, it even had stuff like gravity changes and spikes. Unfortunately, you cannot play it nowadays, and there's no APK version of it or anything like that. Bounce Ball Thingy. Bounce Ball Thingy is the first known game that Robert developed in around 2010. As the description of it mentioned, it was just a test game he did on Flash. You have to control this ball and go through the platforms to reach the end. Just like Forlorn, you can also see GD's platform mode even took some inspiration from its initial mechanics. Playing with the ball, you'd have some different obstacles like lava and those evil twin brothers. The game is insanely short, but a very fair prototype for his developer career.